All right.
I'm going to call the meeting to order. It's 4 minutes past the hour. First order of business is we have some wage action issues. Secondary operator is a meeting or a memo from downtown. Pay rate of secondary water operator. Upon the recommendation of the personnel board, the Board of Selectmen during the duly posted public meeting approved the red circle rate of 24.60 for the secondary water operator in accordance with the Emergency Employment Action Policy. The Board of Selectmen acknowledges the secondary water operation position has historically been red circled on our Emergency Employment Action Policy due to the difficulty in recruiting qualified, experienced licensed water operators to work for the town. The state requires the town to have licensed water operators in accordance with the state's drinking water regulations. I think this came from our town administrator. So that concerns Rob, our secondary operator. Presently he's making $24.10. He's going to be bumped up to 24.60. We also have an issue with the, not an issue, but a memo from the town administrator, primary rate of primary water operator. This is a memo from downtown. This memo serves as a reminder to you, that meaning the board, that the pay range for a primary water operator is posted in the official job vacancy notice, a copy of which is attached to the memo. Personnel board and Board of Selectmen acknowledges that the position of primary water operator has been historically red circled under the Emergency Employment Action Policy due to the difficulty in recruiting qualified, experienced, licensed water operators to work for the town. If the water board, in an effort to recruit a qualified and experienced applicant who possesses the requisite licenses, desires to offer a rate of pay in excess of the pay range, it shall be the request of the Personnel Board to review this matter. The Personnel Board will evaluate the situation and determine if applicable an appropriate red circled rate. The Personnel Board will then recommend such rate to the Board of Selectmen for approval. At that point, the Water Board may offer the approved red circled rate to the applicant, and I shall have an authorization to sign off on the wage salary action form. So this, these wage actions we've been signing, I believe, I think Mr. Peterson is here tonight and can explain to us, the procedure for offering salaries. We have a red circled rate. I'm not sure I can explain it as well as you can, Dave.
Yeah, basically back when there was a big turnover here a few years back, John remembers that, we went out to hire basically a whole new primary, secondary staff, etc. And we posted a position under the town's personnel plan. You're required to post it twice. And if you don't get any applicants, where the Personnel Board and the Board of Selectmen are authorized to create a red circled rate, which puts it out of the normal pay range. So what we did at that time was we red circled both the primary operator and the secondary operator positions to the level that they ultimately grew to with pay increases over the years when you hired the last two people in the position. So basically they were red circled, and what that means is when those people leave, retire, or whatever, then in order to keep that red circled rate, you have to go back and make a request to keep the rate red circled. And obviously in this case you had both employees leave very quickly. And what further complicated the matter is we're in the process of reevaluating all the town salaries, so that as of July 1st, all the non-union employees have been put into new pay positions, new pay grades and steps, et cetera, so that's settled at this point. The issue in these two positions is they're union positions, so that we have to, rather than have them, they're not yet part of the new pay plan because the selectmen are bargaining with the ASME union at this point. Hopefully we'll have an agreement before too long. Both these positions are ASME positions, so we need to briefly red circle them, and then in the new pay plan they'll be put into the normal spot, and that will be the end of that. So that's why we came up with, when we met, the personnel board met yesterday, the selectmen board last night. I guess the previous occupier of the secondary position was being paid $25.60 or something to that effect. So what we did here is we recommended, the board of selectmen voted to pay the secondary operator at this point $24.60. Obviously having less seniority and experience than the person who was in before, plus the fact that this position is currently being part of the bargaining process, so I'm assuming, and I don't know for a fact, but I would assume that it's going to get some kind of an increase based on
The thing I didn't understand
what's
was
being
seeing here
bargained.
last night, Dave, was, I went and dug out my paper. And the paper that I've got, which come from the personnel board, for when we had him, was 1679 to 2239.
Right, well, what happens...
So how did he get up to 25?
In other words, what happened is the official position is posted at that rate. That's the official posting rate. What the red circle does is it just, on a temp for that one...
So the red circle gets added to this.
Well, no, what the red circle does, it says, okay, to hire this particular, it's specifically for one person. So to hire this one person, in this case, two people, they were both red circled. So that puts them into the higher job rate. So now when they leave, the position reverts back to the posting. And obviously you're not gonna hire anybody at that rate and be able to, because nothing's changed in that regard. So therefore, this is more of a technicality. It's a technical issue when you throw in the bargaining and the whole new pay rate readjustment that we're going through. It just kind of, it's like a catch-22. So what we're trying to do here is, the selectmen voted last night, or the personnel board voted yesterday, and the selectmen voted last night to create this position for $24.60, which gives the person you're hiring a raise, and then immediately July 1st, I'm assuming he's probably going to get something else. But that'll be part of the bargain. Union bargaining will actually determine what his raise will be. And then on a secondary basis, so you can go ahead and hire a primary operator, what we're asking is that you vote tonight to request that the primary operator position be red circled. You don't have to put a pay rate with it, because what will happen is tomorrow, or by the end of the week, Laura can forward that request to the personnel board. We're meeting next Monday, or in 2 weeks we'll be on Monday, and then that evening we're the board of selectmen meeting. So we're anticipating that we'll come up with a rate similar to, above this secondary operator, obviously, but the same position, so that it'll be an adequate pay rate to be able to hire somebody. And then the union bargaining will determine what the actual number will be for a salary.
And so this is like, this red circled salary range or rate is only something that's temporary. That's not with what we had before, but it's better than, I mean, it's something that, so we are able to hire somebody, but it's still going to be temporary until everything's settled with the union.
Right, well, it'll stay red, in other words, it'll stay red circled until the union, in other words, this will be a new red circled rate of $24.60 for the secondary operator.
Yeah.
When the union, when we assume that the union ratifies the new contract,
Yeah.
this rate will, or whatever rate they determine, will become the permanent rate, so it no longer will be, the idea of a red circle rate is it eventually gets taken away and gets built into the...
So we're going to lose the red circle class.
You'll lose, for both of these positions,
Yeah.
you'll be losing the red circle aspect, and that'll be the permanent salary rate based on what the union, what the town bargains with the union for, so it gets us through the crisis here and
Yeah.
process, it's a paperwork administrative issue, and we just want to make sure that everything's done properly, because there were a couple of, we've had probably a half a dozen, I'm guessing, I read circle rates over the years that didn't fit into the normal pay schedule, so that, so what we're looking for tonight is I assume if people want to ratify this rate to hire the secondary operator at, which is the authorized rate.
Right.
And then we need a second motion to submit to the personnel board a request to red circle the primary operator. And within 2 weeks from last night, or 2 weeks from time of your meeting, you'll presumably have the new rate for the primary operator. And that posting will be, in other words, the posting is, I'm surprised you got people when you look at that posting, what happens. We're trying to expedite the thing. Normally, to do this, you're supposed to have 2 postings and nobody applies and blah, blah, blah. We're just trying to,
So we need 2 motions tonight. One is for the secondary operator, of which one we've already hired. And we have the wage action that we were supposed to have for Rob, and just re-sign that.
Yeah, basically what we recommended was you assign the pay rate of $24.60, which is the assigned rate, retroactive to the date that you actually appointed him. So if whatever date that this board appointed him, he would get the pay raise back to that particular date. He's not getting burnt on this at all. It's just.
Okay, so the first motion is we're gonna make a motion that we use the red circle rate for the secondary operator.
Right.
We still have to hire another one, but we have one already, which is Rob, and that's gone through the personnel board and it's gone through the selectmen last night, okay? So I need a motion to make the secondary water operator a rate of $24.60, which is right now a red circle rate.
Right, it'll say a red circle rate
Okay.
until the contract.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so I'm gonna sign this as department head. John Rez has already signed this. Okay, so the second motion we need is for the primary operator, which is gonna be a red circle rate. We need to ask the personnel board to review that and give us a red circle rate for the primary operator in the interim before this.
Right.
Okay, so that's the motion. We need to request that the personnel board review the primary operator
Create a red circle
and
rate.
create a red circle rate.
So I'll make that motion.
Okay, Roy makes the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so
Is that everything? On that?
So the only question, any discussion, I mean, the only thing I can think of is, how far are we along with negotiations? Is that gonna happen before the fiscal year ends?
I'm not involved in the bargaining process, but it's pretty close. In other words, hopefully, you never know. I mean,
Yeah.
it's-
Okay.
If we're down, I think they're down to a few issues, and they can get those straightened out.
And as far as the non-union personnel rates, we already got that in contract.
That's all cast in stone,
That's
and it's
cast
just a
in
matter
stone.
of processing the paperwork so that the
So it's a
rates
matter
are
of,
effective July
I'll just
1st.
sign the documents that do the wage action for the 2. We have 2. We have the business manager and our superintendent.
And it just
Okay.
needs to go down to the treasurer for
Okay.
changing the rates as of July 1st.
Okay.
Those are my bids.
All right. I just don't-
7 minutes.
Minutes. We read the minutes.
I have.
Any questions?
I don't have any.
Any discussions?
Make a to accept them then. We're all set then.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous. Purchase orders. How many do we have tonight, Lauren?
This one,
Napa, Georgetown. We have the 24 quarts of 5W20 oil. And one oil filter. What truck is this for?
Truck 1 and truck 9.
All right, who filled this out? Okay. So when he fills it out, can you look at this, John, and put the addresses there to help out,
Okay.
you tell him to, get this thing filled out. Okay?
East Main Street, isn't that the judge?
I don't get too bad, what do you think, Stu? $3.99 a quart?
13.
You shall tell them I'll put $12, $13 a gallon at a truck stop. They're supposed to get a discount per gallon.
I can't believe it, I got oil somewhere and it was like $6.95, I think it was at Market Basket.
I was in Tractor Supply the other day, $70 for a 5-gallon pail. When I was down in Florida, I was buying them for $26, $28.
Oh, boy.
I'm just saying that.
Yeah. So the check warrant's going down there this afternoon, or tomorrow afternoon, right?
I'm gonna drop it on my way home. I told Sue. So I'll have it first thing. There's 2 warrants there.
Yeah. Okay, so this goes in this stack. This goes here. That's done, that's done. Okay, next order. Annual June inventory status. John, you care to bring us up to date on that?
About halfway through it. Like I said, I'm checking off stuff as I get to it. I took a overall count, looks like there's about 2,100 pieces out there.
2,100 pieces?
Of various
Yeah.
configurations.
Are they all here, or we got stuff down at the pump houses or anything, buildings?
Usually there's stuff in the trucks,
Okay, and the trucks, yeah, I forgot about that.
so we're gonna corral the trucks when they're in here and try to get the ones off of them. But about a third to halfway done,
And when do we have to have this done by?
before the end of June.
Okay.
So
Do we have an inventory program? I'm just curious.
Yeah, so, with the fiscal team and the auditors, when we met in January, typically we take our inventory in the winter months when it's, snowing outside and the guys are home, here in the office. But they wanted us to start taking our inventory June 1st.
Okay.
So that's why it's kind of late in the rotation. We're working on electronic job sheets that hopefully we're getting close. So I do a job sheet, they go out to whoever your house, it's automatically gonna take out of that sheet account for me. And then once a year, we're gonna verify my job sheets to the actual inventory, just like they do in the stores, just in case there's, God forbid, any theft or, things walk out of here. So there'll be a check and a balance. Hopefully that will be in place by August. So I'll have a running inventory on electronic job sheets, and then once a year, we're gonna verify it. And that was the procedures that Powers and Sullivan agreed. There used to be something in Peachtree, and it was, every vendor had a different item number. We've set up all item numbers, and then we have the different manufacturers that we're procuring. So, a meter from this guy might be an item number here, and a meter from another guy is another item number. But we have one Town of Raleigh water number now. And so that's what those sheets are that John's working on. So you'll see this once a year on the agenda for whoever the primary, usually the primary operator would be doing this. And then that number goes into our balance sheet. That's part of all of Sue's accounting for the water department. And Powers and Sullivan agreed to use this procedure. So this is important for us to get done, so I can put it on the balance sheet.
Okay, so we're almost done. And any surprises, John?
No, not so far.
And then, is this, you mentioned Peachtree. Now, is that Peachtree is the program that the town uses?
Right, so the fiscal team, this is something that we have to get back to. I think Debbie and Amy looked at other programs for the water department to use. I haven't gotten which one or, what they want us to do. So right now, we are using Peachtree. I have a feeling this could be our last year with Peachtree. And starting in July, we'll probably be getting a new program.
Are we doing that, or they, everybody?
I do it.
Okay.
I do it, yeah. But
So-
it gets turned over,
Yeah. Okay, so
But nobody really is happy with the way the program is operating.
Okay,
And the time involved is much more than we needed. Because we have other programs that are doing the same thing. So Debbie's looking into coming up
Okay.
with a new program for us.
all right, so that's on track, right?
It is.
Special town meeting article number 25, staff.
Okay, so I just wanted to bring everybody up to date. Sorry I wasn't here last week. I'm going to be working on meeting the deadlines for our administrative consent order with penalty. And we have until August 30th to kind of wrap things up. So the big one that I'm working on right now is the standard operating procedures. That's a 7 to 8 week project once we award the contract, so we've got to kind of move ahead on this. I've kind of started putting together the wells. The treatment plant will be added later. I already told DEP, obviously. We'll have to amend this when the treatment plant opens up. So this is something I've started getting quotes on. I talked to Ty and Bond yesterday. He's hoping to get something to me within the next week, so I'll bring that to you. And Wright and Pierce is still working on it, and Weston Sampson is done. So,
With a proposal on it.
Yeah.
So we're getting the proposals in?
I'm hoping within the next 2 weeks to have proposals and for the board to award somebody a contract so that they can get right on it.
Okay.
Um,
And that's under next year's budget anyway, right?
No, so this is a special town meeting article, so we
Okay.
can spend this money today if we had somebody that could do this.
Okay.
After procuring it. It ties in the whole union contracts. It's going to tie in the whole personnel policy. and it's gonna tie in our operations. So we wanna use it as a training tool for any of your new employees, or John and I, so we know what's expected of us in our actual day-to-day operation and operating the water system. I probably right now have well 2, well 3, and well 5. It's probably needs a little bit of updating, but I'm pretty well there. So they're gonna take what I have and make it into a, it's gonna be a huge
Okay,
book. The union contract they're negotiating, that will be, I'm gonna just put the new one in. I'm not even gonna go down the old one. And then the personnel plan, I'm hoping I have an updated copy, John. So we might have to get Amy or Debbie to give us an updated copy.
okay.
So everybody knows what to do at all our facilities. So I just want to keep you updated. I'm almost done with the alarms, the fence, and there's something else in that. That one, I'm almost ready to go on that. I started getting prices for the equipment, the safety equipment. I've already got one price. So I'm gonna be working, those are gonna be a lot easier for us to do and comply with our consent order.
Okay,
But I just wanted to, this one's the big one. This one's gonna be the most time involved. So you can see that Weston Sampson's price is in there, and I'm getting other 2 prices.
okay, so,
You're gonna see these in the next week or 2.
do you think we could expedite that? It's just at 7 or 8 weeks, and we're talking about an August deadline.
It's a huge undertaking,
So we need
it's
to get it
huge.
together sooner rather than later.
If I need to, I can talk to Melissa or DEP, maybe she can give us another extension in good faith that we're trying. I'll have to wait and see how, who gets the contract and what their feeling is.
Okay,
It's a huge project for them. They'll be here full-time with us for weeks. They come and actually set up shop here.
okay,
So, you'll see new people here for a couple of weeks working
Okay.
on that.
all right. Sounds good.
All right, so that's that.
Okay, next order is 73 Summer Street wall. Is that the wall that got damaged and then,
The hydrant replacement,
yeah,
yep. We're getting some quotes on that, repairing that.
yeah,
I haven't got any prices back yet, but I've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different companies
good.
that are gonna look at it.
Can you give us a thumbnail for everybody that, why we're doing it, what happened out there?
Well, the hydrant is so close to the wall that in the course of replacing the hydrant, part of the wall fell down.
Yeah,
So naturally, it wants it back the way it was.
yeah,
So,
Did it cave in underneath it on the footing when you were excavating?
yeah, because it's so close to the wall that actually if you put a hydrant wrench on it, it strikes the wall.
Okay.
okay. The other thing too is, I think you told me a little bit about it, it's actually not on our property.
Yeah,
Is our water line on our property or is it on his
I
property?
mean, there's a lot of those situations around town, and then you get into road dedication, how far does the road dedication go
Yeah.
on that road? You have certain rights to repair within that dedication. So, hopefully we can repair that. Not too much money, it wasn't that much of it that was damaged.
Yeah. Okay, so, what's the name of the guy that, is, wanting the work done?
Barter.
Mr. Barber, okay. All right. Thank you. Next order is fire department request letter to use space. You want to read that, Roy, to the record?
The water commissioners, the water department, members of the water board, due to the crowded conditions at the Raleigh Fire Station, as emergency management director for the town of Raleigh, is inquiring about the possibility of storing equipment in your yard at 401 Central Street. Currently, you are housing one of the emergency light towers in your garage. The additional equipment would be as follows: 40 cube van, formerly utility one of the Raleigh Fire Department, one utility trailer with barricades, traffic cones, one spill response trailer for oil spills and coastal waters, light tower that's already here. If permission is allowed to store this equipment, as always, this equipment would be available to you for your use. The only stipulations would be to ensure that they are cleared during the winter months from snow banks, and that the additional light tower is stored inside the building. If the equipment is used, that you contact the fire department officer in charge to notify them that they're being used. Also, due to the emergency nature of the equipment, there will need to be a location that the fire department can retrieve them easily. It is understood that in this event we would need to enter the facility. On call, representative will be notified that we have entered your facility to retrieve the equipment. It's from the fire chief on James Project.
Okay. So they need access, they need keys, do they want to store it inside the building, or
Outside.
it's all outside stuff?
It's,
Okay.
I'd like to see him be able to put a truck inside myself. There's plenty of room out there.
There isn't plenty of rooms,
There's plenty of room out there, Roy. You wanna be a good neighbor.
be a good neighbor, but you can keep our own stuff in.
Roy, the water department has far too many trucks now. It's time to get rid of a couple.
Well, if we get rid of them, then there's no problem.
Well, there's room out there for at least the fire department to put in the old brush truck and store some other things on the property.
I have no problem with stuff outside.
Okay, so
I say, I'd like to make a motion, Mr. Chairman, that that the fire department can park the old brush truck inside.
there's a,
It's down inside the fire station now. The gentleman can't walk around there without tripping.
okay,
That's the least we can do for him, be a good neighbor.
So
Let him
brush
put some
fire-
things in- Let him put a couple of things in the yard.
yeah. So they have it in their garage, and they need a garage to keep it in good order, right?
They're bursting at the seams down there.
Yeah. Okay. Is there anything, John, we can move out to accommodate that?
What would you-
Well, we had one truck where it's out of here now, right? Because
Right.
is it out of here, by the way? That truck that was, is it out of here yet?
No, they haven't taken it back yet.
Okay, so that's gotta be out of here, but was that in the garage at all?
At one point it was, yeah.
What would be,
It's functional.
what would be a good portion of the garage to put that in? This little small garage up here, could that fit in there?
I don't know, but what they're describing is a cube van, not a brush truck.
The chief mentioned it to me, the old brush truck. If it's a cube van,
Well, it
if it's
says,
the old cube van, so be it.
yeah, it's a little bigger. I don't know, I guess we'd have to take a look out there and measure some, see how we could do it. The
We're
trailers
in a
could
bind for a room. We
the
want-
trailers could go outside, I mean, that's, you know,
We have trailers in the garage?
they're outside anyway. No, I mean, the trailers they're describing,
Yeah.
they keep them outside anyway.
We needed help there here in a heartbeat. That's
I
the least
know.
we can do for them.
And then, well, we only talking about one vehicle coming in here, or what?
Say one
Inside?
Say one inside for now and check the needs and let them put a few things outside.
And of course, we need to secure the back area before we bring these things over, don't we? There's no security here at night, so we need to have those gates and everything. So we got keys for gates that don't work. And
You gentlemen purchased gates.
then we gotta get it back there, and they're gonna have keys to these gates. And also to the garage. And the keys to the garage, are they key to like to the office here?
Yes.
Does the fire department have a key?
No, there's a different
So
cut.
if we give them a key, they
There's
can
a
get
different
into.
cut, they can get into the garage, but not the office.
Mr. Chairman, how is the process on the gates coming? Any future update, or winter's gone by and everything else?
Get no help here, Jack. When we get some help, we can do something like that.
I thought we were gonna have a letter that you fellas, I thought I heard that Fred was gonna come down and try to modify it to work early.
But he's got nobody to come down. I mean, we don't have anybody that can go out and help him and do what we're gonna do.
Yeah, but I mean, he was the original installer, am I right?
No, he wasn't.
Huh?
No, he wasn't.
Now,
The gentlemen that have left were the ones that originally installed it.
yeah, so those guys installed it, and then they put the wheels on it, and then, has anybody tried the gates with the wheels, John?
I don't know. But I will.
Can you try them this week, and
I will.
we'll find out if they work, and
Yep.
if there's anything needs to be addressed, so we have to look at that. And then make plans to see how we can get them debugged, so to speak.
Yep.
Mr. Chairman, I have a motion on the table that we can, with the fire department, have a little room.
I'll second the motion with the stipulation that none of our stuff gets thrown outside. But,
The talking one fan and sidewalk.
no, I just don't, it makes no sense to put our trucks outside after all the money we've spent on them the last 4 years. And
I walk around, plenty of room.
that's just the way I.
Okay, so we got a second. We have a second?
Yes, you seconded it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So we need to check up on, where it's gonna go and what's gonna be moved out, or how can we rearrange
Nothing's
things?
out moved out.
He doesn't want anything moved out. So,
Well, that's how I made it.
yeah, so it's rearranged. Can we get something in there?
So the job.
Can you make it work?
Certainly
Okay.
try. I can't say right off the
Have
shoulder.
doors on both ends, so you're not, no vehicles penned in, so it will work fine.
Then we have a key policy, and then we have, it might want
I have
to
a
put
key,
this, well, we might want to put it off until we get these gates squared away,
Mr. Chairman,
okay?
I have a key that I don't need. They can have my key.
They got a key out in
No,
the
they
front.
have the keys, they're all
No, I'm
set.
talking about,
Yeah,
we're gonna put
They're
equipment
all
in the
set.
backyard or the backyard area, so we need to secure their equipment.
These gates were supposed to be secured last November. What's the problem?
John, let's get on that this week. Let's address, what these gates need, or what they, need to get them to be functional, or are they functional? Can you report back to us next week? Okay.
John, can you close them and put a chain around them with a lock?
Yeah, this side works. The other side, I think it just needs a little torch work.
Okay.
And that's what I said 6 months ago, we wrap a chain around it, we didn't need nothing fancy welded on. Big padlock and a chain.
So we can, evaluate them.
Yeah.
Why don't we plan on maybe coming down, and I'll come down and we'll take a look and see how they work.
Okay.
All right, so,
Sure.
Biggest thing I think over here, you're gonna have to do some grading, that's all. The wheel ain't gonna work, we wanna probably
Smooth
put that
out.
out.
so maybe I
Smooth
can,
that out and stuff.
Make them work.
let me see how they work, and then we'll report back to the board next meeting, okay?
I have a couple of things to say under no business.
Let's wrap up the regular business first. Potential change orders for the treatment plant. There was a question from Karen, I guess, about change orders 4 and 5. Did you
Right,
get your arms
so,
around that this week?
the selectmen approved, I believe, change order 4 and 5, but they're still waiting for us to send information over, but we're okay for Karen now to sign them. So
Okay.
I will have Karen sign them, and I'll bring them to the next meeting for the treatment plant, which I believe is next Tuesday or Monday. I don't know. Next week we have a meeting. So-
Okay.
And then they'll go off to Kinsman, and Weston hasn't signed it, and the state hasn't signed them yet.
Okay. So when is the meeting next week?
John, do you know what day we're meeting next week?
Mm-hmm.
It's in the minutes. The minutes are in your envelope. I put the minutes, just for your.
So this is a construction meeting for the
Yeah, it'll tell you at the bottom of that when our next meeting is.
Kinsman
Roy.
Construction, the state
At the
will
bottom
be
of the
there.
last page.
Our staff will be there. Our PE will be there with the issues for,
6:25.
Yeah, so next Tuesday. Next Tuesday is the next meeting. And I'll bring all the change orders that I have to that meeting.
well, I'm sure John Hargraves knows about it, so he'll be there. And there might be some other change orders coming up then.
I don't know.
You don't know until you get the meeting going. Okay. So as far as work, we know Karen's got, this summit, the treasurer's got the change orders.
She doesn't have them yet. I'm gonna get them to her.
Okay,
Because I was waiting for the selectmen Monday night, just yesterday. They mentioned them at your selectmen's meeting.
okay.
I saw it on TV, so I haven't gotten an official letter or anything from them, but I'm
Okay,
assuming
so-
I could go ahead and do it.
Okay. And then after that, there's probably gonna be some more change orders, and John's already
Sure.
talked about that. All right. Our administrative assistant resigned on Monday. We accepted her resignation. We're reopening or continuing the opening of the position of administrative assistant. The other candidate, we got a call into her, see if she's still interested in serving. So, what I think we should do is we should, look at her references, and I think we should make an offer to her if the references pass, to get
I
this.
think you said there was a couple other ones too, though. You just-
First thing we have to do is vote to accept this resignation.
Okay, so, but getting back to accept the resignation, I want a motion to accept her resignation.
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
So, second, excuse me.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, could I ask, that lady worked roughly, what, a week for her?
2 weeks and a couple of
Yeah.
hours.
What was the purpose? Could I just ask, or just personal matter, or
She
just
just decided that there wasn't,
wasn't up to do it?
yeah, there wasn't, this wasn't in line with what she was expecting, so.
Okay. Thank you.
So the other candidate, we're gonna call her up and see if she's still interested in the position. And what I would expect is that, we thought, when we interviewed the candidates, I thought that both candidates were excellent candidates. It was a very tough decision. If she's still interested in the position, I would say that we should, pursue that, so. Do I have a motion from anybody here on the floor, on the board? You think that we should make an offer if she's still interested? If she passes the reference check?
Now, do we have any other ones down there still?
I don't think we do, Roy.
I think we should table it for a week.
I know before they said there was a couple that were still downtown, they hadn't sent up.
There's a lot that came in downtown, but they, when they look at the job description, the only two that popped up were these two people the one we made an offer to and took the job for temporarily, and the other person. So, positions advertised is open till filled, I believe. Isn't that right, David?
I'm not sure.
So the only discussion we have is Stewie would like to table it. How about you, Roy?
Yeah, I think we gotta check downtown, make sure there's no other applicants.
Okay,
we
so
don't
we'll
get in
put this
trouble with
off. We'll put this off for a week, okay? All right. Old business, now,
Excuse me. A couple of things I'd like to say about new business.
new business, okay.
Larry, to answer your question, your concerns from 2 weeks ago about the rubbish,
Right.
it will be picked up on a weekly basis at a savings of $73 a month.
That's with the outside,
No.
okay,
Trash barrel,
so the trash barrels are stored inside and then,
that's correct. They'll
and
be empty.
someone has to, put the trash in trash bags and then put the trash barrels outside.
Once a week.
Larry, we're probably gonna keep the door open, so we won't have to move it out. Usually,
Well, except in the winter time.
well, truck 9 usually goes out in the morning. Those 2 trucks usually move out. So, all they have to do is hit the little, garage door opener if it's raining or snowing. But typically the doors are open.
My outfit got the bid, Larry.
Yes.
I'm gonna pick it up on Tuesday. Gonna be no problem. My truck comes in, we pick up 4 stops across the street all the way up to the end. And I think we can handle it all right. I do the town library and highway department.
No, my concern was more of just a health issue of
Well, it's gonna
having,
be picked up like I do your house. Out on the bank and stuff weekly. I
Right.
mean, there's gonna be no health issue.
well, the health issue is that for 6 days, there's an accumulation of, possible stuff on the inside. Plus people have to bag it, tie it and stuff like that. I mean, it's totally up to you you in deciding it. My main concern was just one of health, there was also a minor one of inconvenience of having to bag it and bring it outside and stuff like that.
It's no different than you at home, Larry. Bagging roads, and Mr. Cook picks it up once a week. Same thing.
There's not gonna be much garbage trash, and there's gonna be like boxes.
Right, that,
you know.
I mean, you know more about your trash than I do.
I don't know if I know.
Wrappings.
Oh, I don't know.
But
But I think that, it would be stored inside instead of being visible during the week.
Mhm.
And then when I used to call it barrel day when I was a kid. You take the barrels out. Nobody calls it that now, do they, Jack? They don't call it barrel day.
No.
But it's called trash day, I guess, and the bags would go out on Tuesday,
Yeah.
yeah, and then if it's inclement weather or there's snowbanks out there, then during the normal work hours, if Jack doesn't see it out there, he would stop and maybe go inside the door there, or the garage door, which would be open during the business day, and get the trash. Maybe there could be an area designated for that, so these guys will work it out. So it's not something that's out there and getting picked over by any animals or weather or whatever like that.
No, I'm more concerned about, we'll say, it being on the inside and having the animals trying to come inside for it, number one. And 2, it's much easier just, if you have trash, to go out to a dumpster and throw it in rather than put it in a barrel. But like I say, that's, it's your call, you know more about it than what I do.
Yeah.
My issue mainly was of, maybe a possible health concern, that's all.
Okay. We'll consider that when we coordinate it with the new vendor.
I see no problem, no.
I think if you
Whatever we
look
can
back,
work.
in our minutes, when we said that, we said we was gonna try it for 2 months anyway to make sure there wasn't a problem inside, if you remember right?
Oh,
We talked about it before.
we voted to give it to him for a year.
Yeah, but we also said, we had it written in the minutes still, if you listen a little bit, instead of jumping on it, everybody, every night, that we said we'd see how it worked out for a couple of months. So we
That's
didn't
what
have
you-
no problem, yeah.
That's what you said, Roy, and we voted to give it to Mr. Cook
Well-
for 1 year.
Still do what you want, you wanna throw me under the bus again anyway, like you did last time. Go for it.
Roy, believe me, what you said.
No, I know, I'm
It's
just-
not
I'm
done,
just-
Roy, I'll totally agree. Listen, I pick up the Raleigh house and.
I know,
You know,
I
like
just,
an hour
when
in,
we
there's
made
no-
the
this
appointment,
gentleman
I
had a
agreed to
question.
have you, Jack. But I said we tried for a couple of months to make sure we didn't have
Okay.
a problem with stuff up
You
there.
know, this is not a 50-bag pickup.
I realize
It's
that.
very, very simple here. I go the highway and like Larry just said, them guys eat the meals in, they have 2 barrels in the highway, I open the door, I go in there, I've been doing that for 25 years there, I haven't had a problem. Every Wednesday we pick that up, but this year's gonna be picked up on Tuesday. My men come by here, we get all the way up the street to Central
Yeah.
Street, we got like 40 odd customers.
Well, just,
You know, 900 I got in town, and I mean, it just,
in the interest
this
of,
is
yeah.
believe me, this is nothing.
in the interest of time, I'll make sure that within the 2 months, if it looks like it's not a good deal, then, you know, we'll talk to you and we'll straighten it out, that's it.
Believe me, it's gonna be a good
I
deal.
don't think it will.
I'm just trying to save you some money.
Yeah,
You wanna keep the dumpster, go ahead,
no,
pay the 1,500 or whatever you're paying out there. I don't care, it's just another customer, you know?
we'll just work, yeah.
I picked up 6 new ones this week, and for what I'm picking it up for, you know, I don't
If
care.
it is a problem, it's gonna be a very terrible problem, so don't worry
There
about
won't be no problem.
Mr. Chairman, can we move on?
it. Let's move on,
I have got some more new business.
on new business, okay.
I went to the selectmen's meeting last night, and I wanted to invite them, but 2 members were absent. I want to go to the next meeting, July 1st, I believe. And I want to invite the selectmen and the administrator, and you gentlemen, to go to Nashua.
Okay.
And I would like to vote here tonight to authorize us to hire a van for the trip.
Well, did you find out what a good day would be?
That's what, trying to get everything together, work it out. I have to invite the selectmen, see what's good for them, what's good for you gentlemen.
I don't know,
It's
Roy, you're
educational.
working every day.
How can you turn
You
your
got any
back?
days off that you,
Sunday. Unless it's Sunday in the hay-in.
I never know where I'm gonna be from day to day, so midweek is good for me. I don't care. With me, it doesn't make any difference.
What I'm asking tonight, I'd like a vote to hire the van.
Okay.
Stu, just before you go on that to hire, any chance the council would let us pay for a driver when that, when
We
that
can ask,
maybe
that
work?
would be great.
I know we had the bridges out, remember Dave? They carted us around. They, you know, to show us the different spots.
One to check too is maybe.
Henry-
see if I'm-
Henry Wilson drove us around. They get a nice van down there, if it's gonna be after hours, we pay the driver, well, whoever,
Fine, I'll be glad to ask.
huh? I think maybe that would be,
All right.
hey, I'm not just trying to save a little
I
money.
understand. I'd like to, okay. I'd
Well,
like to
I'm-
make a motion to ask the council on agent, what Jack just mentioned, to hire the driver, and the gas. And if that doesn't work out, they're tied up or something, I'd like to vote to hire a van for a backup plan.
Okay.
That fair?
That sounds like a good one.
You have everything to gain and nothing to lose. It's very educational.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. I have two more things. Hydrants. Some of these hydrants you can't see the way they're overgrown. If we don't have the help, I think we should ask Laura to get 3 phone quotes on doing some mowing. Trim around some hydrants, and if we have to mow around, just around the station a little bit.
How long would that take, Laura?
So, I believe next week we were gonna interview another seasonal worker, John, the 24th or 25th, you said?
Laura, this has been going on for a month.
I know.
First thing you know, you'll have cordwood out there.
Yeah. I'm just wondering about time that we'll get it, procure it, Stu, and how long that would take. And then by the time we do that, we're talking about,
Because I have the Boy Scouts are gonna be doing it also. I talked with the Eagle Scout project, that's part of what they're doing.
is he,
He stopped in today and he's almost approved through the Boy Scouts. He has to
Uh-huh.
get all the paperwork in order. So, once he's out of school, he was gonna get to it. But I hear what you're saying. I think, you know, we need to clean up. I've seen some of these, you can't even see them.
We had a bad situation today,
I
these
know.
hydrants. I understand one malfunctioned, then I heard another story, it got the valve or something. But these things are critical. We have some hydrants that don't work and need to be flushed.
Well, we said we're not flushing until the fall because of we did vote that, because of the staffing, we didn't have the staff for the flushing.
There's one former member of the water board that volunteered to work, not volunteered, he offered to work evenings flushing.
what happened today with the hydrant?
These gentlemen today, luckily, nobody was killed or injured serious, but they did lose a dog in there. We all know seconds count.
What happened with the hydrant today?
That didn't work.
Oh, it did.
But something, okay, it did work, but
There's a problem.
what was the
From my
problem?
understanding, when Rob went down to check it out, is they have some sort of 4-way valve that they put on the hydrant.
All right,
Initially it wasn't installed, you know, I'm not trying to throw rocks at it,
no, I understand.
but not in the right configuration.
Okay,
When they turned the hydrant on, the water came.
let me ask you this, John, how many hydrants in town that do not work?
I couldn't say for sure, I don't flush them, Rob does, but to my knowledge, just about all of them work. They work, some of them work hard because they're original system, you know.
So there were 3 though in the capital plan, that we did vote, that we were gonna replace 3 a year, and that particular one was on the list. I know that, John, and that other one,
Was it?
and is up there on Route 1A. And
Right.
now we got the other one down there. So, but we have to wait till July 1st. So, when we do flush, the primary operator has a list of every single hydrant, the condition, if it needs something, we're going to fix it during the flushing. Because we didn't flush this year, we kinda got backlogged a little bit. But that one in particular, I know is on the list, John.
Is that the one today, Laura?
Yeah, that was on the list.
Well, my question would be, if it was on the list, and you got your primary out there doing this, how come they didn't cover it?
Because we didn't, it was the fire department.
Huh?
We didn't get there, they opened it, not us.
No, you said it was on the list, that it wasn't
Because
properly.
we had to wait till July 1st, the funding wasn't there as part of.
Well, no, one of my question is, the hydrant was on the list that wouldn't work. That one,
That one's gonna
particular
be,
one?
that one's gonna be replaced, yeah.
Okay.
That's one
Yeah,
of the
Well, my
ones.
thought was, there's other
Right.
hydrants,
Yeah.
and these guys are hooking up, John.
The hydrant worked,
Yeah,
Okay, well, that's
And
what
it
I'm
worked.
asking.
and it worked today.
If
Yeah.
it didn't work, yeah, I know, I was there, I was one of the first guys, I went by and
Yeah.
saw it. I watched it, and like you said, you're right. They got a four-way hookup, and they
Right.
hooked up the wrong side to feed,
Right.
and it's supposed to have been the opposite. I
Yeah.
mean, that's just a mistake that was made. There's no one at fault. But what I was saying, that hydrant didn't work, John, and then the poor guys are trying to turn, double
Right.
turn it, and get it, some go left to right and right to left on some of these hydrants we got installed in Raleigh.
Yeah.
They're not work all the same, correspond right to left. Am I right?
Well, more than 90% of them are open
Yeah,
but to my knowledge.
Today, we really needed quickly.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, John, I was there and it was a disaster. Hey,
Well,
5 minutes feeding a truck means a lot when you get these
Oh,
mutual aid
absolutely.
trucks coming in. No,
Absolutely.
I'm not saying no fault, but what I was saying, if that was on the list, there should have been like a thing, because they pulled from by the housing authority. If I was on a truck, I'm just saying, if I was the first responder, that's where I'd have my wrap. They went
Right.
by the house and had to pull backwards.
Right.
A truck was coming down Central this way, was over to the left. What you gotta do is hook the hydrant back, drag the hose, with the other way when you pick up. I think it was Ipswich that picked up, Ipswich and Tupsfield picked up by the house, and then we drew down on Cross Street up.
Right.
But I mean, things happen in a hurry,
Right.
you know.
But I mean, it did work. It was a
Oh,
work.
no.
It was a working
yeah.
hydrant. You know.
Took a little maneuvering,
The
but
thing
they
is,
got it done.
as they reach a certain age and they become stiffer to operate, that's when they get
Yeah.
put on the list.
Yeah,
to be
and I was
replaced.
very, very impressed on Action Ambulance crew. They had two, you know who was hooking up the whole thing? The two members on the Action Ambulance guys
Oh, EMTs.
were working their butt off
Huh.
to hook this up to feed
Jeremy,
one of the trucks, you know?
let me see if I got
Stu
this,
was there.
let me see if I got this straight in my mind. We have 3 hydrants we were gonna replace this year. And one of those 3,
FY14,
what is it?
FY14,
FY14.
because we
Okay,
didn't
so-
have it in our budget.
And 3 of those hydrants, one are older hydrants,
Mhm,
and one of those hydrants was the hydrant in question today?
mhm.
Okay. And we haven't flushed these hydrants yet this year because we got personnel problems.
Well, the board voted to flush in the fall.
I know.
Yeah, okay.
Does it make sense that these older hydrants, that we flush them right now?
You can't, you gotta, because then there's a whole chain of how we flush. Then you go down
You
and.
go down the line and
Right,
you
so
flush
this,
them.
it takes us
sequence.
about 3 weeks. You
Okay.
know that. When we get into flushing, it's a good 3 weeks.
So is there any way we can test these hydrants to make sure they're working? They're older hydrants?
Yeah, you can,
Is it them Dowlins, Sean?
I think those are Wood Matthews, the oldest.
Are they?
Yeah.
Okay.
My question is, and I think it's what you're getting at, is the 3 hydrants that you're planning on replacing. As far as you know, they work, you're merely replacing them because they're ancient
Right.
and need to be replaced. But as far as you're concerned, and the last time you flushed,
They
they worked.
They work.
So they're not dead hydrants.
Right.
No, we
So-
want to have a bag over them.
Right, that's what I think that's
Oh,
what's kind
yeah,
of
oh,
picking
I'm
around
sorry.
here.
Yeah, I'm sorry,
Well,
yeah.
That's all, so.
The
Yeah,
old ones aren't
yeah.
synchronized with the newer ones.
Yeah.
But we're slated
The
to
old
replace
old
those,
ones
but
aren't synchronized with the
next
old
year's
ones, they don't
fiscal
spin the
year.
same way.
There's a whole process
Okay,
on their
they're open.
flushing, thing, what they're
I know,
doing.
but they've flushed before, there's no reason why they shouldn't be.
No, we flush in April, yeah, every year, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think you can, it's that isolate, flush ice on an isolated thing, you're gonna screw up people's water and
Oh, yeah, it goes all
your whole
down.
system. As long as those 3 that are being replaced work, I don't see
Usually
that's a
when you
problem.
start
I should have thrown my
flushing, start
garbage
one
in the
end.
fire.
All right, let's
Chase.
move on to the next subject.
Just, let me ask, John, do you have any hydrants in stock in inventory?
Right now, I think I've only got one with
One? All right. You have to save that for an emergency.
Okay.
One other quick question is that the ones that turn the 10% or whatever it is, that turn the
Right.
different, work to the right rather than to the left, are they marked so that when
They're
the fire
marked
department
on
goes out there, they
Oh,
know
the
that?
dome.
There's an arrow.
There's an arrow.
There's an arrow on the top paper,
Okay.
on
It
the
says
top,
open.
just by when they put the wrench on.
All
That
right,
was an excellent question, Dave.
thank you. Why, yeah, I had no idea. That was a legitimate question.
Good question. I'd like to mention, I mentioned it last night. The town of Topsfield has 2 employees and 1 superintendent. Their total budget is $775,000. And it's the same size water department as Raleigh. They have put the same number of customers. My question is, why is this department $2 million?
John?
What kind of debt do we have?
I don't know.
I haven't researched it, but I can.
You think it's a debt,
I know
the debt difference, or is it?
that one of our salesmen is a Topsfield commissioner, and they're looking at building a plan,
Yeah,
but they haven't gotten into it yet.
so are they gonna be mandated, or are they gonna be under the gun like we were, or?
I'm not really sure. I'd have to call them up and ask some particulars.
Okay, so maybe just get some information for the board next time.
In the town of Salisbury, there's 8,200 residents, 3,800 customers for water. And the average bill is $520 a year.
I think you find most of ours though, because of this new treatment plant.
And they have a $2 million budget, but they run the water service for $500,000 a year. And they outsource the repairs. And most of that $1.5 million that's left over is for capital improvements. Like the gentleman said, we have a capital budget we would die for.
Why don't we do this? John, why don't you get the statistics? How many lines of pipe, how many miles of pipe do they run over there in Salisbury and Topsfield? How many people do they run, as far as operation? How many customers they have?
I just told you.
Just, no, get the facts from these
No,
two.
like what John was just saying, Stu.
I did get the facts.
That
The head man in Topsfield,
So how many customers they got in Topsfield?
1,700 to 1,800, same as Raleigh.
Yeah, that gentleman that came in for an interview last week, he had some numbers for us, so,
I got the exact numbers
okay.
from the superintendent, okay?
And is there anybody, any other,
I believe, if my memory's correct, I have it at home, I brought it to Selectmen's meeting last night, 148,000 in wages, 73,000 for the superintendent, but the total budget and their debt service, so forth, total budget is, that's a bottom line, total budget is $775,000
in Topsfield?
in Topsfield.
we just pay like, we gotta pay an $800 interest thing just for the treatment plant, correct? 800 and something?
So our budget was 754 without the debt. So theirs is 775, and they have 2 wells versus our 3 wells.
And then
We're
we got
treating
brand
with 5 chemicals, and I think they're treating with 3. So, you know, we can add it up and kind of subtract it out, but, so our budget was 827, and then 957, and went to $1.9 million, because we have the capital plan, which we never had for FY14.
And then we look at, if they had a break over there, do they hire it out with Thompson or something? No,
They do hire it up.
Yeah.
So I don't know where that
You
is in
know-
their budget. I don't know how that,
we gotta start looking at it, with respect to what the expenses really are, and for a comparison thing, so.
But also the Topsfield person that you interviewed last week said that the water quality was marginal and that they were considering, or they were told to consider a new treatment plant because of the water contamination, which they were treating with chemicals.
Yeah.
The water quality in the town of Salisbury is top shelf.
Don't they
award-
have,
They have awards over there.
Stu, they have double, well, they got 3,800 customers?
Yes, they do.
Yeah, almost double what Raleigh got.
That is
Right.
correct. They have 8,200 residents. In the summer, that swells to about 25,000, I believe.
Yeah.
Because of the beach.
Yeah,
You really need to get some sort of a detailed analysis, so you make sure you're comparing apples with
I
apples
don't
and
think
oranges
that
with
far
oranges.
off.
And sometimes those figures
Yeah,
can be
we're
very
all
Like
set.
that is,
The
misleading,
treatment
so.
plant, you know, the treatment plant is driving us up.
pipes, yeah.
But we have other debt too.
I think they
you know.
go,
We got the garage debt, we got,
going in,
something else too.
not gonna hurt.
Yeah.
Oh, I know, it's worth looking at.
Invest, you know, I mean, to all of us go and look at what's going on.
No, it's worth looking at these things, but I mean.
Seems
to-
like a lot
To
of,
make judgments off the top of your head, you really need to have
right,
a,
scenarios.
some sort of a detailed analysis, so.
Yeah.
Well, I think that we're heading in that direction as far as making an evaluation of what the cost of running those other places versus us is. We're about to do that. We're looking at that. And then we don't want to be comparing apples and oranges, but the numbers that Stewie came up with are certainly prompting us to investigate further what we're going to be doing as far as looking at these numbers and seeing what they really mean. Because, you know, you can bring up, we got a debt service on our thing right now, and that sort of bumped up from the previous year. So what are we running for debt right now,
Well,
Laura?
2 years ago, our debt was $1 million. Last year was $1,000,004, $1,000,009.
What is it this year?
For FY13, it's $1,000,004. So next year, it's $1 million, it's almost $2 million.
So next year, fiscal year 14, it's almost $2 million.
Oh, I'm sorry, the debt, I thought you meant the budget. Okay, so we went from 187 to 442 to 887.
So right now, we're running a debt to pay for that bond, $887.
Well, we still have the Pingree well, we have this
We
building.
have these other projects that we went through in the last.
Yeah,
couple of years.
unfortunately, we have 5 debt services and of course the treatment plant.
So all the debt services combined, what are they running?
So this year they're at $500,000, next year they're 800, almost 87.
So it isn't only the treatment plant, it's the treatment plant plus the Pingree Farm
Right,
situation and a few other things.
so, you know, but also what we did this year for FY14 is we have a capital plan. We never had that before, so that's, you know, a big part of
Salisbury's got a capital plan.
That is right, that's what's the bulk of that too.
Yeah, so it's too much for us to get involved with that. What I would suggest we do is get a hold of those guys' budgets and maybe pick another one, like, what about, any other communities like us that maybe are getting a treatment plant like we're getting, so we can look at what's going on with them.
Well, Newburyport we have, but they're much bigger than Georgetown.
I'm looking at
What's going on in Georgetown, I mean, they're.
customer-wise, distribution-wise, anything similar to us with a treatment plant that we know of?
So Georgetown would
Right off
be,
the top of my head.
Can you guys look at that? Like, maybe there's a place like Ludlow or something.
well, I looked at Lexington actually, they have a membrane system. They're sort of our size, I talked to their business manager, I can get their budget for you. They're a small community with the treatment plant.
Could we,
You can even go see it, you know.
maybe Barbara Cook can answer that, I don't know.
Yeah,
What we need to do is we need to look at about 2 or 3 of these places and see what's going on. Not only where they're dealing with private contractors, but public sectors too. It's just for a comparison. It's similar to what the personnel board did with salaries recently. They went through and they looked at all these communities for salaries.
So I could bring to the next board meeting, I had Ty and Bond, for the whole state of Massachusetts. Every town, what their budget is, what their chemicals are, if they're private, I have it on my desk. I can bring it in right now if you wanna see it. You know, it's pretty thick. We can go through that, or I can just give it and you can look at it. The key here is the chemicals. How many, because that is not in any survey. That's something you pick up the phone, you have to talk to them. How are you treating your water? You know, I think Topsfield, I thought their water was pretty clean over there. Groveland, you can't compare, they're not treating it all in Groveland. You know, when I talk about chemicals, a big part of my budget is chemicals. You got bills in front of you today for, $1,000 worth of chemicals.
Yeah.
So Groveland doesn't have to treat, so you look at their budget for $1 million, they're spending it on their capital maybe. I don't know.
So I guess what we ought to do is to look at some of these other communities for comparison. And so we can make a more educated decision as far as what would be the cost savings to the ratepayers. So instead of just looking at Topsfield and Salisbury, I'd like to get some other communities in there so we can look at all these things at once. I don't want to look at two of them and then make a decision on those two. I think we ought to, there's probably a community out there just like us, we just need to do a little more research out there. Can you guys do that?
Could have been.
Any other comments from anybody? Okay. Any other new business that you can think of? Roy or Stewie?
What are we doing? We have, so I sent Samson thing with the outstanding bills to do, right?
We already talked about the review of candidates for administrative assistant.
Right.
We only had two that qualified for
We get the
job
outstanding bills
description.
to the department.
So that, we tabled that to the next meeting, okay? Outstanding bills for the department. There's we took care of the bills from
Yankee Pine.
Yankee Pine. And I was finally able to talk to Seacoast Lock today. And he's gonna revisit his invoice and maybe rewrite it. And look at maybe representing it so he can get his, his services covered. I thought that might be a good idea, and I encouraged him to do that, and let's see if he comes back and, comes back with, a better price for the department. So that takes care of him. Hopefully he'll do that in the next couple of days.
Did you gentlemen get 3 quotes
We didn't have-
on the locks?
No, we didn't. There was an emergency situation. So we're trying to take care of that. The other contractors, we already talked about that. There's 2.
So we have instant alarm,
So instant alarm,
I still have that one not on a warrant.
okay.
And then
Why? We have
because
that invoice here so we can look at it?
we put it on a warrant, but nobody would sign it.
Okay,
So
Yeah.
this was the letter from February 12th that I emailed you,
okay.
that the commissioners brought them to the selectmen in January 28th. But then when we went to put it on a warrant, nobody would sign it, so Sue wouldn't accept it.
Okay.
So here they sit.
Do you have the copy of that invoice?
Yeah, not here in my, I can get, actually, wait a minute, hold on. Don't have it in front of me, Tim. but I can get that for the next meeting. I could bring the invoices and the warrant that I had put together. It's on my desk.
For the next meeting, if it's okay with you gentlemen, I would like to get this warrant that we didn't sign last time, and let's just, as a group of the board here, revisit that. And let's look at that and see if there's anything there that we can move on in this fiscal year before it closes out.
And I talked to Sue, and she said we can accept FY13 bills to the first week in July. So I have a few more weeks to process
Good.
these, just so you know.
So, do you think that's a good idea, gentlemen?
Okay.
I think I should stay out of it because I wasn't here then
Okay.
for the bills.
So Roy and I will look at this and see if we can move some of this stuff forward or put it in limbo.
Yeah, we can get some direction from the selectmen to help us out a little bit. What we're gonna do.
I'm trying to do that now. So, I think when we look at it, we say, okay, well, maybe there's a case here that we can kind of put this into something else.
Okay.
Because some of these things did get moved forward, like the window and stuff like that. We need to get this thing done now, as opposed to trying to get it done later. So can you do that next week?
Sure, definitely.
Your window got approved last night in the bill, well, that was out of Yankee Pine, the Board of Selectmen
Yeah.
approved that.
No,
Now, this
we
other stuff, Tim,
revisited it.
yeah,
We looked at it and said, okay, there's justification, they put it in the other category. We want to look at these other things with different eyes, and then revisit that topic and see if we can move some of that stuff out of here, or put it in that category, which we're trying to figure out how to handle it from here on out. Which, you know, some of these things have already, obviously aren't gonna get paid.
yeah, well, you're right there, I mean, you've got money that was appropriated at town meeting, the extension of, what, 40,000 on the original, that
Yeah.
should have, these things should have been applied to, but you've got this amount left. You got zero in that account.
There's a negative sign next to that check.
Well, hopefully come up with something. Then the other big thing is, this don't get attended in this year.
Gotta go to town meeting, right?
You gotta go to town meeting, and you know what you gotta have? You gotta have 9 people out of 10, a 9/10 vote. Correct me if I'm wrong, Dave, am I right?
That's correct.
You know,
So,
you get 100 there, and you get 10 people, 11 can go against it.
I'm aware of that, so we need
Okay.
to look at
Yeah.
these things, Roy and I
Yeah,
will
no,
look at
no.
it, and see if we can, you know, make a justification. It might be acceptable to you guys downtown in your meeting. When are you gonna have a meeting next time?
2 weeks we meet right
July
there.
1st.
Huh?
July 1st.
July 1.
Okay, so then we might be able to move it through that day, because
We're in that window for the.
Bailey's gonna be
first
able to take bills up until the first week in July.
Yeah, that's what she told me.
So we gotta have a meeting next week, next Tuesday night. I know you like to hear that. And we're gonna try to look at that, okay?
No problem.
And then these other things that we were talking about, John. Some of this information we need for the next meeting?
Yeah.
Okay. Response to Weston and Sampson's letter on change orders. In the package, we put a letter together, and I signed it. And I'm just gonna enter this into the record. We sent the copies out, including, went downtown to the letter to the selectmen. Did you guys get that last night, as far as the letter I sent out?
This one here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll read it here. This concerns Barbara Cook's letter. An overview of her letter was that we were concerning change orders and how we could proceed as far as getting them more expeditious review and passing them through to not interfere with that construction schedule that would cause other delays that we don't want to deal with that. So the gentleman at the Raleigh Selectmen put a letter together to us through Deborah Egan, the town administrator, and we're responding to both letters with this letter. Dear Ms. Cook, thank you for your letter dated June 4th, 2013 regarding the processing of change orders. If anybody's interested in getting a copy of that, they can come down to this department and get a copy. We understand that timely processing of change order requests is necessary to satisfactorily complete the construction of a new water treatment facility on schedule. As stated in your letter, typical projects of this type will be considered as successfully executed if the extra costs are below 5% of the original construction contract bid amount. In the case of this contract, at this point in the construction schedule, the Raleigh Board of Water Commissioners has received a notification from the Board of Selectmen that they have serious concerns regarding the current state of change orders, particularly as they pertain to engineering design errors and omissions. In light of this concern, the Raleigh Board of Selectmen feel that it is necessary for Weston and Sampson to provide an explanation as to what would be a remedy to the town if extra costs exceed the 5% contingency. Furthermore, they have requested that we initiate formal discussions with Weston and Sampson relative to this matter. We as a board want to assure the town and the ratepayers that this project will meet our expectations of being a successful and efficient project. Sincerely, Tim Toomey, Chairman of the Board of Water Commissioners. So that's the letter we put forward, and I think it kind of says it all. I think that from here, I would expect Weston and Sampson to maybe meet with us and maybe discuss how we can make sure we're sharpening our pencils to get make sure that we're below the 5% mark, which is already built into the contract and bid amount. So I think that this is a good step to get it to be a more efficient project. Any comments?
No, I just don't like the idea that they're trying to get us to rubber stamp everything. They walk in here, and they do it about 3 months, and they walk in one night, want us to rubber stamp it so they can go and do it, and I'm not gonna go for it.
Yeah. I think the message is out there, Roy.
I think, I mean, I'm new to this, so I haven't been involved in all this, and we did approve, I think it was change order 5, might have been 4, about some kind of a cooling unit or something that, was originally sized at, I'm gonna say 20,000 BTU, I'm guessing here. And then the change order comes in for, well, now to properly cool, and I'm gonna say cool, but I don't remember for sure if that's what it was, but we need a 40,000 BTU unit.
Yeah.
And I guess not being a construction expert, my question is, well, how did this change come in? And why wasn't it part of the original plan? What caused it to be required to be doubled? And I'm assuming that when it comes in as a change order, if the change order was around $15,000, maybe it was a $5,000 item if it was in the original bid. So I guess there's a couple of different things like that.
Well, if it's like the beam there on that 5 one, I mean, they want, what, $13,000?
Yeah, I mean, it's
to do it right and give us a $1,500 credit.
It's stuff like that, and I don't know how they do it in business and industry, I'm not sure.
Well,
It just leaves a taste that the designer, for whatever reason, maybe it was the way the bid documents were written, I don't know, but it just leaves a taste in your mouth that some of these things seem to be, I mean, if you're putting a water line between here and Route 1 and you run into a big boulder in the middle, yeah, now you got an unexpected problem that popped up. But if you're just, the cooling unit isn't big enough to cool what you're cooling, why wasn't that picked up in the original engineering of the project? And we okayed that because we didn't want to hold up your project, but these are the kinds of questions we're looking to get some answers to that are we really responsible for that mistake, or is that something that should have been in the original engineering thing that would have been part of the original bid that came in?
At this point, in a preliminary response to my understanding, which is limited on the situation, is you hire a qualified engineering firm to provide you a design of what they anticipate is a complete design, but it's not guaranteed it's a complete design without flaws. And everybody realizes that we're not in a perfect world. A lot of these things don't get picked up until they get into the construction phase and the contractor says, do you really want that? And all of a sudden they're putting in a request for information. Do you want to modify this? Or maybe they left this out. It's a very complicated design.
I think that this is what as a board of selectmen, I don't know how you guys deal with it, but this is the kind of information we're looking for. In other words, we're amateurs at this. We're not engineers, we're not experts. How does this thing work? And can she give us, some explanations that are satisfactory?
I think that we're gonna get that.
Okay.
And we're gonna get, I think, maybe, and I'm hoping that they're gonna sharpen their pencils more. Okay, as far as, putting these things together. We have, in John's absence, we brought in a PE that knows more about construction than anybody in this room. He's looking into it. They know that with this letter that we're concerned about it. The town is concerned about it, the selectmen's concerned about it, this board is concerned about it. The outcome of this, I'm hoping that it's gonna be, everybody's gonna be working hard to make sure we're down below the 5%. But 5% is actually built in to that contract. We don't wanna go above the 5%. We want a very efficient run. That's the message that they're getting from us in you. And when we sit down with them after this letter has been, this letter went out Friday, then I think we're gonna, we're all gonna be, they're gonna be happy, contractor's gonna be happy, we're all gonna be on the same page, that we're gonna get an efficient project. We were lucky that one of the change orders went our way at the tune of, crediting us 80 grand. So that's a good thing. And I stated before with them that we like those. That's the kind of change orders we like.
We don't want to suck it up though in 3 months.
Dave, you're absolutely 100% right. Somebody designs these things every day should have designed the proper pump or the cooling system. I believe it's a pump.
Well, there was a tank there that was too high for the building. That's what got me to.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that,
Yeah.
I mean, granted at this, we gotta see at this point, we need this thing built. We need
it built.
So we're not sitting here trying to hold up the project.
Yeah,
We may have to do some change orders we don't really wanna do just to get the project done, but it just raises a question as to how well they looked at this when they designed it, and should they bear at least some financial responsibility if it wasn't designed correctly. We understand that the bottom line ended with us, but along the way, is it something that they should have, and we may never determine that. We may just have to eat the whole thing. It's just something that, as a layperson, you look at this and you just say, wait a minute, this just doesn't look right. And, like I say, I don't know for sure. That's where we're coming from. I think the board of selectmen is.
Well, I think we're doing everything that we can do, and we got a good team.
No, we're working together. We need to work together to get this whole project.
We got a good team that's able to look at this with a different set of eyes.
Yeah.
And then, I'm sure we're gonna benefit from this, so. So the next meeting's gonna be the 25th. And,
Laura,
Oh, I'm sorry.
do you want those?
what about
Do
these
you want
things?
those abatements?
Oh, yeah, we need the abatement signed. Or
I did.
You approved them at last week's meeting?
6
Okay.
o'clock when we-
All right, so, we already voted that we accept
we did
these?
that last week.
Okay, so what do we sign here? Water commissioners?
Yeah.
Good night.
Yeah, the TV person.
You're gonna have to train us how to turn that off. Is that? Is the thing off now? Okay.
Did you close the meeting? I missed it.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second? All in